Let's now talk to Laban Okune of Mathri Roots. We usually go through their tweets every morning to keep you up to speed with what's happening on the roads. He's with us in studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Karibu sana.
Yeah.
Asante.
I can see you have your phone and you're ready just to, tweet and, retweet, all manner of things. But Laban, very quickly, tell us, what is the bottleneck, the serious issue behind this strike? Just a few weeks ago, we had this strike. We have an issue, with the matatus, and compliance and all these regulations of policy. What is the real issue?
Yeah, I think that the real issue is basically just we don't want to follow the law, I would say. But today is not actually a strike per se. It's like people who did not comply to the regulations that were set by government. So the real issue is basically just a bit of not wanting to comply with the law and wanting to push these deadlines and everything. Yeah. So I guess that's the problem.
Yeah, and I'll ask us very quickly back to the Mathri Roots and just the kind of feedback and information we get. How is it you have all this information coming through? Because we are able every morning to just get an understanding of what's happening around the capital, all roads. How is it you have this network?
Yeah, so Mathri Root actually is not just a Twitter handle.
Yeah.
We have apps on Windows and Android, and actually all the information you see on our Twitter handle is propagated from our apps.
Okay.
So basically, we were trying to solve the issue of lack of information around transport. Like, whenever in other cities you'll find the police are informing people every time on traffic and all the issues around transport, but here we didn't have that. So that's why I developed the platform so that people can share like all the information happening on the road.
On the road.
Yeah, so the network has grown over time and people are getting value out of it, and they're continuing to get on board and share information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever there's this kind of a crisis in terms of transportation, one of the things very clearly that will happen is that there'll be hiking of fares, which we've seen quite a number of people talk about. There are fewer matatus on the road, but there are still traffic snarl-ups that we are seeing some people reporting about. What, in your experience, will Kenyans see today throughout the day as this pans out?
So basically, whenever there's a crisis like this one, Kenyans, we have a behavior of getting now our cars, because we have our cars, but we don't drive them throughout the month.
Right.
But whenever there's a crisis like this one, that's when you'll get people using all their cars, and still that's why there's traffic snarl-ups still on some of the roads, because a lot of cars have come out now to sort the situation.
To sort the situation out.
Yeah, and today, let's just get today, and I mean, some of the updates that we've seen from morning is that, Rungai asking people to pay 300 shillings, some people are paying 150 shillings from Jogo Road, 200 shillings from Kahawa, Sukari, and all these, issues. I mean, it's clearly unconstitutional, it is wrong, it is all these issues. Is there a way that this information can be used and be taken to authorities, as evidence that, because you even have, number plates, of the vehicles in, matatus or even personal vehicles that are, doing the wrong things on the road? Yeah, so we're actually doing a lot of traffic trend analysis and even those reports analysis, and we have like a very comprehensive report that we've developed already, and we are reaching out to the government so that we show some of these issues. Like, through the data we are getting, we know like the time of traffic, the time of the day that traffic happens. We know the people who are involved in some of these incidences. So all we want to do is use this report, take it to the government and tell them, hey, look, we need to do something here. Like, why should matatus hike fares? I think it's a high time the government regulated the fares so that we don't have a situation whereby whenever there is a crisis and now matatus are calling the shots. Yes. Laban, as someone who's looking for solutions, looking for how to help, how to you can use new technologies to help us sort most of our problems. How do we sort our traffic problems? Because it's a serious issue. It's a bottleneck, morning, evening, anytime, every time. What are some of the solutions that technology and things that you have can help us?
So technology, the way we have Mathri Root for now, what is going to do is just show where there are weaknesses give out those trend analysis, see why we have issues. We know the sections of the road that have issues all the time. So maybe government need to redesign the roads. And also, you'll find that we need some infrastructure design, because if something happens like on Uhuru Highway, the whole of the city is choked. So maybe government needs to reconsider that, and also government needs to look at like why are we breaking the law all the time on the roads, and maybe government come in like strongly and regulate the matatu industry. And government should, like the other great cities, also the government invest in the public transport. I think they should, so that the private owners do not hold the city at ransom.
Because that's what's happening now.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, we have people who, they own the matatu, so they have the infrastructure, and they can withdraw the services at any time. At any time,
and they know the government has no other alternative, and it's the citizens that end up suffering right now. Yeah.
All right. We are talking to Laban of Matthew Route, and we're trying to just go through and figure out issues around the Matthew routes. On your screen are pictures of that drone that we have employed today. We're covering this the way only we can. We'll be doing this every morning, every evening, every instance that we have an opportunity to do this. That footage, that video that is coming through from the drone there, we can just take a look at that for a moment, and then we get back to our interview.
Of the pictures, it's new journalism we're practicing here at KTN, getting for you from our drone, and that is what Mombasa was looking like a few moments ago. I don't think much has changed in the last few minutes, but we're just bringing you up to speed with what's happening around the capital, and we'll tell you also what's happening elsewhere in light of the matatu owners' bid to block new rules that flopped, and they take effect today. So they will be inspecting definitely the offices around the country to check if they've complied with the new rules. And in studio with us is Laban Okune from Matatu Routes, and also joining us is Harrison Kinyanjui, a city lawyer who has been representing the bus owners. And we want to get an understanding of what exactly the issues at hand are. Harrison, thank you for joining us, and good morning.
My pleasure.
Take us through what issues the bus owners themselves have. Why have they moved to court?
The very first issue is the Cabinet Secretary had gazetted legal notice number 219 of last year on 17th of December. And if you look at its contents, it's rather radical. First, you cannot, as an individual, even if you have $500 million or $1 billion, be registered as a PSV operator. Meaning that you have to belong to a company, you have to belong to a SACCO, not even a society. My clients belong to a society. So they say that, look, we have been registered since 1978 as a society. And you're telling our members that they cannot be registered as PSV operators. This is downright illegal. It is unconstitutional. Number two, if you force someone, if you compel someone to belong to a company or a SACCO, so that they can do business, you are actually discriminating against them. Take, for instance, we have 5 restaurants, and you tell them, for me to license you to operate a restaurant, you have all to congregate together and be one restaurant.
But the reason, what it is informing that kind of, requirement is the kind of death that, the carnage we've been seeing on our roads, and is to bring some form of sanity. Is that too much of a concession to be made by the bus owners?
I wouldn't say that. But of course, if you whip up people's emotion that, look, people are dying, everybody will be focused on the object you're trying to stop the death. But you look at the nitty-gritty, the net effect of all of that, and you say there is an ulterior motive. Right now, the Cabinet Secretary says enforce regulations. We have no regulations. I challenge him. What new regulations are you talking about? What new regulations? This whole mess is blamable on something called Parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate. Why? Because we have gone back to the era of dictatorship. A cabinet secretary, one person comes up with regulations. They do not go through the scrutiny of the Senate. They do not go through the scrutiny of the National Assembly. Article 93, sub-article 1 of our Constitution says that our Parliament constitutes of the Senate and the National Assembly. Standing Order number 210 of the National Assembly authorizes Parliament to scrutinize every such legislation. Standing Order number 211 of the Senate authorizes the Senate to scrutinize such legislation. Now, until each of those houses put a tick, Mr. Cabinet Secretary, we agree with this, we agree with that, he cannot enforce them. So when we went to court in January, we said, and we told the court, look, this Cabinet Secretary, whether he consulted or not, my client said that he did not consult, he consulted the matatu owners. He did not lay those regulations before Parliament. When he realized we had actually got him with his pants down, what did he do? 3 days before the judgment, on 11th of March, he revokes those regulations. So what regulations is he talking about that should be enforced?
So Harrison, let's just try to look for solutions, because we have a problem with the transport situation in this country. Today, many Kenyans are walking around, they don't have transport. We have a situation whereby individuals or your clients or any other clients, would have matatus and withdraw the services like they did 3 weeks ago. Whether regulation or not, transport is a service. So at what point are we meeting concession and the needs of Kenyans and business?
I agree with you that Kenyans are owed the duty to have transport made reliable. At the same time, these transport providers work within a regulatory regime. Number one, it's not like we have a vacuum. We have the whole gamut of the Traffic Act, rules and regulations. Those are there. So I do not see, for instance, why the Cabinet Secretary should say, before I can license you now, you should have a code of conduct for your employees. It's there. Has he read the traffic rules? I really wonder. Now, when you are forced and compelled to then comply with that which you are incapable of complying with, what do? You say, I'll pull off so as not to offend. So while you recognize that Kenyans do have a right to transportation, that's a given. But you say, if I then go to meet that need, I will be whacked. I will be actually against the law, like they are saying. But then I asked this Cabinet Secretary, you came to court and you told us we have Legal Notice 219 of 2013 to enforce. And then you tell us, no, I have revoked that. I have a new Legal Notice 23 of 2014. Is that what you're enforcing? And if you're enforcing that, has it received approval by Parliament? So the Cabinet Secretary owes a duty of truth to the Kenyan people.
Is your case in court still in progress, or has it been decided upon?
This is another issue. There are two cases. We filed judicial review number 2 of 2014, challenging Legal Notice 219 of 2013. The original rules, the original regulations by this Cabinet Secretary. It was decided on the 14th of March. But he was told in the judgment, look, the speed governors that you're asking the Kenyan people to install in their vehicles, you cannot, because you cannot go specifying brands. What did he do instead? He revoked that, and he goes back and says, we have a new legal notice. So we were then compelled to file a new case last Friday. So it's pending in court.
Okay. Finally, as we bring this to a close, what will bring this to a resolution? Because to Kenyans, speaking to majority, there definitely needs to be some sanity in the sector, and I'll also bring you in, Laban, as you bring your, give your closing remarks. There needs to be sanity, and there are many elements of this. We saw the last-minute rush. It's not new, the rules in essence. They have known about the speed governors and all these things. We're not hearing about them for the first time now. Your opinion, very quickly, what must be done to bring a good, clean end to this mess?
Yeah, what I think is, I think the stakeholders, the government and the matatu owners, I think they have to come to the bus owners, they have to come to an agreement so that citizens don't suffer. Because what I'm seeing, I went through some of the legal notice, requirements, and I didn't see something out of the ordinary that is causing the bus owners to not to comply. Right. So, but if they have like specific teething issues, I think they should sit down and address those issues, because the overall spirit of the legal notice, I think it's good for the common mwananchi, based on the feedback we're getting. Because even today, yes, the people are saying, okay, we are going to walk. It doesn't matter how long, but as long as the bus owners comply to this. Because we've seen all this carnage on the roads also.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, in 1 minute. Are you in a corner by yourselves as matatu and bus operators and owners, and Kenyans agree that perhaps this sanity needs such rules to enforce?
Right now, every public service vehicle that was operating as of yesterday, they had speed governors. So what we have are new regulations that have absolutely no backing of the law. Then, you as a cabinet secretary, why don't you respect the rule of law? So you cannot say that we have a problem, and yet we have this stack of laws that are there right now. You don't enforce them. Right now, as I speak, there are people who have pulled off their parked vehicles from the road. I mean, from the parking. The question is, do they have insurance?
Okay.
Are they roadworthy? Are they inspected? So blaming road carnage on PSV vehicles as though they're the only vehicles on the road, really, I think is reductionist. I think it's too narrow.
All right.
Harrison Kinanzui, thank you very much for making time to open the lead on this conversation and what your clients are asking for. And indeed, Laban Okune from Matthew Root, insightful and deadly conversation.
Thank you. And somebody is appreciating you, saying it's good to see you on TV, giving those updates as well. Thank you. And we're glad you're watching Morning Express this morning.